Ahoy mate, Bob here. In this video we'll be tying the 5 leads Turk's head bracelet, often referred to as a Spanish ring. This bracelet's an extension of the 3 leads Turk's head, or the common sailor's bracelet. The key to getting them to fit properly is in taking advantage of the natural fiber's tendency to shrink whenever it becomes wet. Well, to be more accurate, swell whenever it's wet. As the strands become thicker, the overall length will reduce to compensate for this change. It's important to know the amount of change the line that you will be using has whenever it becomes wet in order to determine the amount of line overall needed to ensure a proper fit. It's always best to make a trial bracelet and make notes regarding the amount of reduction that occurs so that you'll know what adjustments are needed for your particular line. Since synthetic lines don't have a tendency to change shape whenever it's wet, it's important to always stick with a 100% natural line. Something like an 80-20 or 50-50 cotton polyester blend would result in some fibers resisting this change. That might make for some great clothes, but not so much for a sailor's bracelet. My line of choice is a 1.5 to 2 millimeter 100% cotton 3-strand soft laid line. This gives me about 2-inch reduction for a 5-lead form doubled and a 1.5-inch reduction in a common 3-lead form doubled. Both have a wet out reduction of about 1 inch for every 9 inches of line, and the rest of this reduction comes from the width expanding as additional leads get tied into the knot. That said, let's get to it. To start, we'll need to determine the wrist circumference and add 2 inches, or for you in the metric world, 5 centimeters. Red Solo cup makes an excellent gauge. Using it allows for consistency when tying the initial lead. Here I've marked the rings on the cup with the measurements taken from the center of each band. The taper of the bands give an overall range of about a 1/2 inch or 1.27 centimeters. First tip of the day is it's best to store your natural lines in a Ziploc bag or other airtight container, as the fibers could wick up moisture from the air and result in altering how much the line would shrink whenever you wet it out. High humidity can change it enough to result in poor fitting bracelets. Start off by taking a single wrap and then increase it by 10 for a total of 11 to get the length of the line needed, and tape around the line for cutting. Second tip of the day is when you're cutting the line, cut it at an angle, not straight across. This will form a point that will make it much easier to robe the strand through the knot. Now, using our handy dandy gauge, tie the common 3 leads Turk's head. Lay the first round like so. Pass the working end under the line to the right. Then run the lower crossing point around the cup. Cross the working end over the line to the left and under the line on the opposite side of the crossing point, and then over the neighboring line. Note that the working line will always pass under the same line and over the other line throughout the base knot. To achieve this, after completing each transitional pass with the working line, you will pass the left wrap strand, let's call it strand 1, under the right wrap strand, or strand 2. This will create the 2 additional crossing points. after which we'll robe the working line around and through the crossing points made. Repeat these steps until you arrive back at your starting point. If you find these tutorials helpful, please take a moment to like and subscribe to help this channel grow. Also, you can check in the description below for a Ko-Fi link to request any type of commission works you might like to have done, or check out our shop to see what's available. Now that you're back to the starting point, if you did the final underpass and doubled that lead, you'd wind up with a common sailor's bracelet. At this point, check your spacings and make sure they're even. You'll want to leave enough gaps for the additional passes that must be made, so don't get the spacings too small, as we'll need to add 2 more leads and double it. In this case, we want to make a 5 lead, so don't make that last underpass. Instead, we will tie in the 4th and 5th lead. To tie in the 4th lead, we'll want to follow the 2 over, 1 under pattern. At this point, I find it easiest to remove the knot from the cup and finish it freehand. But to make it easier in this demonstration, we'll keep it on the cup and tie in the 4th and 5th lead. Be careful not to pull too hard on your working line as you're going through this 4th lead, as you can easily shift the line at the under 1 pass to the wrong side of the line beside it. When you come up to the beginning point, you'll transition to a over 2, under 2 pattern to tie in the 5th lead. After going under the 2, you'd pass the end up between the 2 lines running side by side or in parallel, splitting them in 2. I find this is an easy visual marker whenever I'm tying in this 5th lead. As you progress through the knot with the additional passes, the width will increase and overall circumference of the knot will reduce. This is expected, so don't fight it. Just let her ride. When you get back to your starting point, the final two underpasses should bring the line up just to the right of the standing line at the starting point. Congratulations, your base knot is now complete. At this point, we'll remove it from the cup and follow the standing line throughout the knot to double the lead. On the left side pass to the inside, I find it easier to insert the line to the right of the standing line and then pinch the standing line between my thumb and middle finger and help shift the working line back to the right side of the standing line that I'm following. After finish doubling it up, both lines should come out on the inside of the knot. Now turn the bracelet inside out to glue and trim the ends. I find hot glue to be better than super glue as it doesn't seem to set as hard and it's less likely to irritate the skin. Once trimmed, turn the knot back right side out, and after deciding which way you prefer to wear it, points in or points out, slip it over your hand. At this point, the bracelet will be fairly loose around your wrist, but by running it under lukewarm water for a few minutes, the bracelet will set as the water gets soaked into the fibers. Since the odds are that you won't be able to take this knot off without cutting it, the best thing to do is to keep it clean by simply washing with a little soap and water anytime you take a bath or a shower. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.